Maya slapped the billionaire across the face in front of the entire glittering room. But what left everyone frozen was the moment after, when he leaned down and forced a defiant kiss onto her lips. The sharp crack of her hand echoed beneath the crystal chandeliers. The soft laughter of the elite vanished into silence. No one had ever dared to humiliate Ethan Cole, the man who could buy the entire room with a flick of his fingers. But Ethan did not rage. Not a single shout. He gripped Maya's wrist, his cold eyes flashing with challenge. And before the stunned crowd, he claimed her mouth. The kiss was sudden, harsh, reckless, a declaration of power. Maya froze. Her heart pounded, not with desire but with the sting of being turned into a spectacle. The hall held its breath, every gaze fixed on them. In that instant, pride and power collided, leaving a fracture that could never be undone. What would you think if love began with humiliation? Do you believe Maya should fight back? Or will she be drawn deeper into Ethan's dangerous world? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. The chandeliers glittered above, scattering golden light across velvet walls. Every seat was filled with New York's elite, their eyes sharp, their laughter laced with power. The air carried the weight of money, whispered deals, and silent judgments. In the middle of the crowd, Maya Johnson walked with quiet grace. Her emerald dress caught the light, but it was her eyes that told the truth. They never strayed from the canvas at the front. Awakening dawn. A storm of color, a memory frozen in oil and brush. For Maya, it was not just a painting, it was a lifeline. Around her, conversations hummed. Men compared portfolios. Women flashed diamonds. Maya heard none of it. Her heart beat in rhythm with the auctioneer's gavel resting on the podium. The room was a theater of wealth, but for Maya it was something deeper. A test. A chance to prove that a woman like her, without old money or famous blood, could stand in the same room and claim beauty for herself. The lights dimmed slightly. Silence spread. The auctioneer lifted his hand. The moment was here. Technique. Cinematic description. Show, don't tell. Advanced. Maya sat upright, her hands clasped tight in her lap. She whispered to herself, almost afraid someone might hear, "This is it." The gallery she had built from nothing, one room at a time, could change forever with this painting. Awakening Dawn would not just hang on a wall, it would hang her name in history. People would see her as more than a curator struggling for recognition. They would see her as someone who belonged. Zuri leaned close, her voice a worried murmur. "Maya, remember the budget. We cannot outbid everyone here." Maya forced a small smile, though her chest ached. "I know, Zuri, but sometimes one piece is worth everything." The words tasted like fire and fear. She thought of the investors who doubted her, of the critics who barely spoke her name. This was her answer to them, a declaration without words. The painting seemed to glow brighter, as if it knew her secret. Maya's pulse quickened. She was ready. The auctioneer tapped the microphone. Lot 23. Awakening Dawn. Opening bid, $100,000. Maya inhaled sharply. Her hand rose before she could think. Technique. Inner thoughts plus foreshadowing. Advanced. The numbers climbed quickly. Voices echoed, hands lifted, cards waved. The sound of money became a rhythm, steady and relentless. Maya stayed in the game, each bid sharper, faster. Zuri's hand touched her arm, but Maya shook it off. Nothing would stop her now. And then, his voice, smooth, unhurried, carrying across the room like a blade wrapped in silk. 200,000. Heads turned. Ethan Cole stood at the back, tall in a tailored suit, eyes fixed not on the painting but on Maya herself. The room seemed to bend toward him, as if wealth had its own gravity. Whispers spread. Some smiled knowingly. Ethan Cole was not a man who collected art. He collected victories. He collected people. And now he was collecting her fight. Maya's breath caught. Their gazes met across the hall. His expression was unreadable, cool, almost amused. The auctioneer nodded. 200,000 from Mr. Cole. Maya's jaw tightened. She lifted her hand again, raising the stakes. The war had begun. Technique. Magnetic antagonist. Master. The gavel hovered. The room throbbed with tension. 250, Maya called. Her voice was steady, though her heart hammered in her chest. 300, Ethan answered smoothly, not even glancing at the auctioneer. His eyes never left hers. The crowd stirred, delighted. This was no longer about a canvas. It was a duel. Maya's palms sweated. She thought of Zuri's warning, of her dwindling accounts, of nights spent calculating rent and payroll. Yet pride pushed her forward. She lifted her card high. 320. Ethan's lips curved into a faint smile. 350. Gasps rippled through the hall. Whispers hissed like snakes. She cannot win. He will crush her. But Maya felt a strange heat rise in her chest. She was fighting not just for the painting, but for her name, her place, her dignity. The auctioneer's voice rose over the noise. 350,000, Mr. Cole. Do I hear more? Maya's hand trembled. Her card stayed raised. For one breath, 1 second, she refused to surrender. Technique, escalation of conflict. Basic, advanced. 380, Maya called, her voice cracking. The auctioneer raised his gavel. Silence pressed in from all sides. Ethan's voice sliced through it. 400,000. The hall erupted into murmurs, cards lowered. No one dared follow. Maya's throat tightened. Her hand shook, still raised, but her body refused to move. She heard Zuri whisper, pleading, Maya, stop. We can't. Her chest burned. She lowered the card. The gavel struck once, twice, final. Sold. 400,000 to Mr. Cole. Applause broke out, polite and cruel. Ethan leaned back in his chair, calm as stone. His lips curved into a faint, mocking smile. Maya's eyes blurred. For her, it was not just money lost. It was dignity stripped away in front of the very world she longed to prove herself to. The painting was gone. The chance was gone. Yet her heart whispered that the battle had only begun. The crowd thinned as the champagne glasses clinked in celebration. Maya moved against the tide, her heels striking marble with sharp defiance. She stopped in front of Ethan. He was speaking with a collector, but when his eyes found hers, the conversation faded. "Do you even understand what that painting means?" she demanded. Her voice shook, not from fear, but from fury. Ethan's gaze did not waver. "I understand perfectly," he said, calm and steady. "It is an artist's cry against silence, a rebellion in color." Maya blinked. She had expected ignorance, arrogance. Instead, his words struck her like an unexpected chord, but anger quickly drowned surprise. "Then why steal it?" His shoulders lifted in a subtle shrug. "Because you wanted it." The cruelty of his truth made her heart slam harder. Maya stood frozen, breath unsteady. Ethan studied her face with a quiet intensity, like she was the art he had just purchased. "I'll admit," he said softly, "you fight with more fire than most galleries in this city ever will. That alone deserves respect." The words tangled inside her chest. Respect? From him? Her pulse jumped in anger, yet something else flickered beneath it. Zuri tugged her arm, but Maya didn't move. The air between her and Ethan thickened, silent but alive. She hated the way her body reacted, hated the warmth blooming in her skin under his gaze. "You think this is a game?" she snapped. His eyes narrowed, a half-smile tugging at his lips. "Everything is a game, Maya. Only some know how to win." Her fists clenched. His voice carried both insult and admiration, and that contradiction infuriated her more than any insult alone. Maya's voice rose, sharp with pain. "You didn't want the painting. You only wanted it because I did." Ethan tilted his head, the faintest smirk pulling at his mouth. His silence said more than words could. Something inside Maya snapped. The sound of her hand striking his cheek cracked like thunder. Gasps shot through the hall. A waiter dropped a glass. Crystal shattered across the floor. Ethan's face turned slightly with the blow. He straightened slowly, eyes glinting like steel under firelight. Maya's chest heaved, her hand trembling. She had crossed a line, one she could never retreat from. For a breathless moment, time froze. Every eye locked on them. Every whisper held its breath. The world waited for Ethan's rage. None came. Instead, he caught Maya's wrist. His grip was firm, not cruel, holding her still as the hall pulsed with disbelief. His voice was low, dangerous, yet laced with something unspoken. "You strike like fire." Then, without warning, he drew her closer. Maya's eyes widened as his mouth pressed against hers, harsh, claiming. A kiss not of tenderness, but of challenge. The room erupted. Gasps, shouts, cameras flashed like lightning. Maya froze, every nerve alight with fury and shame. She pushed against his chest, but the echo of his lips burned into her skin. Ethan released her as suddenly as he had taken her, his expression unreadable, except for the flicker of triumph in his eyes. The silence that followed was deafening. Her lips still burned, but not from desire, from humiliation. Maya tore her wrist free, the sound of laughter and whispers clawing at her back. Phones rose, flashes burst like cruel stars. She pushed past polished gowns and tuxedos, each pair of eyes cutting into her skin. Her heels struck marble like thunder as she fled the auction hall. The cold night air outside hit her like a blade. She gasped, clutching her chest as if she could wipe away the memory. Inside, Ethan stood where she had left him. His cheek bore the faint mark of her hand. His lips, touched by hers, curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. He lifted his fingers, brushing them over his mouth. His eyes gleamed, not with shame, but with something darker, a silent promise. The crowd buzzed behind him, but Ethan Cole, billionaire untouchable, seemed to hear nothing. His gaze fixed on the doorway where Maya had vanished. He whispered into the silence, almost amused. The hunt has only begun. Morning light spilled through Prism Gallery's glass doors. Maya unlocked them with heavy hands, exhaustion dragging at her bones. The night replayed in fragments. The slap, the kiss, the eyes that had followed her. She had barely slept, haunted by shame and fury. Then she froze. On the far wall, bathed in golden light, hung Awakening Dawn. The same painting Ethan had stolen from her. Her breath caught. It was impossible. Beside it, a cream-colored envelope pinned neatly. With shaking fingers, she opened it. The note read in clean, deliberate script. On loan for 3 months. No conditions. Simply where it belongs. Maya's stomach twisted. Outrage warred with a surge of secret relief. To have it here, in her gallery, where it could be seen by the world. This was everything she had fought for. But from him? From the man who had humiliated her in front of everyone? Her hands clenched the paper until it crumpled. She whispered into the empty hall, voice trembling with defiance, "You won't win." Zuri burst into the gallery minutes later, nearly breathless. "Did you see it? He gave it back." Maya's eyes stayed locked on the painting, fury smoldering beneath her calm. "No, he didn't give it. He's taunting me." Zuri frowned. "Maya, this could change everything for the gallery. You can't just—" "I can," Maya cut her off, "and I will. He won't think I owe him." Her decision crystallized like glass cooling from fire. She would not be the woman who cowered. She would look Ethan Cole in the eye and return his gift herself. That evening, she stood before her mirror. Her hand hovered over dresses, blue, black, white, before settling on crimson. A dress that spoke of pride, of defiance, of control. As fabric slid against her skin, she whispered to her reflection, "Not for him, for me." She lifted her chin. Tonight, she would step into the lion's den, not as prey, but as challenger. The elevator rose without pause, opening directly into Ethan Cole's world. Maya stepped into vastness. Walls of glass overlooked the glowing sprawl of New York. But it wasn't the view that stole her breath. It was the art. Every wall brimmed with pieces. Raw, evocative, fearless. Works from rising names she herself had championed. They weren't trophies. They were lifelines, chosen with care. For a moment, confusion cracked her anger. Who was this man? Music drifted through the air, low and aching. She followed the sound until she found him. Ethan sat at a grand piano, sleeves rolled, golden hair falling into his face. His fingers moved with unexpected tenderness, drawing out a melody that spoke of loneliness, of storms unshared. He didn't see her at first. His shoulders hunched, almost boyish in their vulnerability. Then, sensing her presence, he stopped. Slowly, he turned. Maya. His voice was quiet, stripped of arrogance. For the first time, she saw him not as billionaire or rival, but as man. She placed the brass key on the table. "I came to return this, and the painting. All of it." Ethan stood, leaving the piano behind, his expression unreadable. "Before you do, hear me out." She folded her arms, defiant. "Say it. The painting stays. 3 months. Nothing more. No contracts, no strings. Consider it an apology." Maya's chest tightened. An apology? From him? She wanted to laugh, yet his voice carried no mockery. Her gaze flicked to the walls again, to the art that lived here with a reverence she hadn't expected. Maybe he did understand. Maybe too well. Her lips parted, then closed. Finally, she said, 3 months. Only because the world deserves to see it. Not because of you." His mouth curved in the faintest smile, but his eyes stayed serious. Agreed. The silence between them pulsed. Fragile, dangerous, alive. The night cracked open with thunder. Rain hammered against the glass walls of the penthouse, blurring the city into streaks of silver. The lights flickered, then died. Darkness wrapped the room, broken only by the storm outside. Maya stood near the window, breath fogging the glass. Ethan joined her, silent at first. Their reflections blurred together in the pain, as if the storm had swallowed their outlines. For once his voice was stripped bare. "I know what they say about me. Ruthless. Cold. Maybe they're right. But when I saw that painting, when I saw you fighting for it, it reminded me what it feels like to want something that money can't guarantee." His words cut deeper than the thunder. Maya turned to him, eyes searching. The storm outside mirrored the storm inside her chest, anger, fear, and something warmer she didn't want to name. The rain lashed harder, like applause or warning. Maya whispered, "You don't get to rewrite who you are in one night." But her voice trembled, betraying her resolve. Morning sunlight spilled into the room, soft after the chaos of the storm. Maya found Ethan already awake, standing in the kitchen barefoot, pouring coffee into 2 cups. No servants, no silver trays. Just him, unguarded, offering something simple. He placed a plate in front of her. Toast, scrambled eggs, nothing more. Her brow arched. "This is what billionaires eat?" His lips curved faintly. "This is what I eat when I want it to be real." The simplicity disarmed her. No wine, no chandeliers, no silent staff watching. Just 2 people, sitting at a counter, eating breakfast as though the world outside didn't exist. For a moment, Maya allowed herself to laugh. It startled her, and him. "You're not what I expected," she admitted. Ethan met her gaze, steady. "Neither are you." The quiet lingered, soft but alive, more dangerous than the storm had been. Days passed. Maya tried to stay away, but fate, or something like it, refused to listen. At her favorite cafe, she looked up from her notebook, and there he was, leaning at the counter with a casual smile. On a walk in Central Park, she paused at the lake, and Ethan appeared on the path, hands in his pockets, pretending it was chance. Once, on the pier at Rockaway Beach, the wind caught her scarf. He caught it before it flew away. Each time, Zuri's voice rang in her ears, teasing. "Girl, he's not coincidence. He's stalking you. The billionaire kind of stalking." Maya rolled her eyes, but her heart betrayed her. Each encounter left ripples, unsettling the calm she tried to keep. She told herself it was annoyance, nothing more. Yet, each time the memory of his eyes followed her home, heavy and unshakable. It happened in seconds. A car shot past the corner, horn blaring, headlights too close. Maya froze. Then Ethan's hand gripped her waist, yanking her back. Her body collided with his chest as the car roared past, wind whipping her hair across her face. Her pulse thundered louder than the traffic. His arms held her tight, longer than necessary, like he wasn't ready to let go. Their eyes met. His gaze burned, an intensity that scared her more than the car had. For a heartbeat, the city vanished. There was only his warmth, his breath, his hand still gripping her as if the world might steal her away. She tore herself free, stumbling back. "Don't," she whispered, but her voice lacked strength. Her skin still remembered his touch. Ethan didn't move closer, but his eyes said what his lips didn't. "You're already mine." It was not a gala, not a yacht, not a penthouse rooftop. It was a motorcycle, its engine growling under the late afternoon sun. Ethan handed her a helmet. "Trust me." She almost laughed. "That's the last thing I should do." Yet she climbed on. The city blurred behind them, replaced by open fields and quiet sky. Hours later, they stopped at a hilltop picnic. A blanket, a basket, bread, cheese, fruit. The simplest meal, yet it felt like treasure in the hush of the countryside. Maya sat across from him, the wind tugging at her hair. Ethan looked at her as if no gallery, no fortune, no empire mattered. His voice broke the silence. "You are the rare truth in my life, Maya. Everything else I can buy, not this." Her chest tightened. She wanted to deny it, to push him away again. But the words had carved into her. The sunset bled across the sky, and she realized she was already in too deep. The ride home was silent, heavy with words unsaid. The city lights blurred past, but Maya felt only the heat of Ethan's hand brushing hers. When they reached the penthouse, the silence broke. His lips found hers, this time without defiance, without audience. Just hunger and need. Clothes fell away like barriers. The night pulsed with urgency, each kiss sharper, deeper. They moved as though the world outside no longer existed. Later, in the quiet after, Maya traced her fingers along his chest. She stopped. Scars. Faint lines, pale against his skin. Ethan stiffened. For once, the mask slipped. His eyes met hers, and in them she saw something she had never seen before. Fear. He whispered, almost too soft to hear. I was 16. The fire. It should have taken me. Her heart clenched. She pressed her palm against the scars, not to erase them, but to hold them. For the first time, Ethan Cole looked not like a man untouchable, but like a boy who had once been broken. The morning came cruel. Maya opened her phone to a storm. Headlines screamed across every site. Billionaire and mystery curator. Paparazzi photos of their ride, their picnic, even blurred shots of the penthouse balcony. Her name, her face, splashed across glossy screens. At the gallery, reporters crowded the doors. Cameras shoved forward, voices sharp with questions. How long have you been involved? Are you his mistress? Did he buy you too? Maya pushed through, heart pounding. Inside, the silence felt no safer. Emails poured in, some offers, some insults. Investors demanded answers. Critics sneered. She wasn't seen as a woman or an artist anymore. She was a headline, prey in a hunt she hadn't chosen. That night, she stood by her window, watching the flash of cameras outside. For the first time, fear outweighed anger. The world had turned its eyes on her, and it did not blink. Her phone buzzed after midnight, a name she hadn't seen in months. Marcus. He'll ruin you, Maya. I've seen it before. Men like him only take. She read the words again and again. Each one scraped open an old wound. She remembered the betrayal that had scarred her heart, the promises once made, then broken without care. She remembered standing alone, left to pick up the pieces while the man who claimed to love her walked away. Now Marcus was back, his warning heavy with bitter truth. Maya sat on the edge of her bed, her hands shaking. Ethan's voice from that night still lingered in her ears, warm and raw. But Marcus's warning coiled around her chest like chains. Was she repeating the same mistake, only grander, more public, more dangerous? She closed her eyes. The scars on Ethan's chest, the scars on her heart, both whispered the same question. Can a man like Ethan ever truly love anyone? Or only himself? The rain fell in sheets, hammering the city with relentless fury. Maya and Ethan stood under the downpour, words cutting sharper than the water. You don't see me, she cried, her voice breaking. You only see another prize to win. Ethan shook his head, rain dripping from his hair, his eyes fierce. You think I risked all this? For a game? Then what am I to you? Her fists clenched, her body trembling. He stepped closer, the storm soaking them both. His coat shielded her from the worst of it, even as her words struck like lightning. You can't buy me, she shouted. I never tried to, he answered, raw. I only wanted you to believe me. But her tears mixed with the rain. She turned, pulling free from his grasp, and ran. The storm swallowed her figure. Ethan stood alone, drenched, his heart pounding harder than the thunder. Hours later, he found her. Maya sat in the gallery, lights off, the painting looming above her like judgment. Her eyes were red, her arms wrapped tight around herself. Ethan stepped inside, water still dripping from his clothes. He looked broken, his usual armor shattered. I've never said this to anyone, he began, his voice hoarse. Not even to myself. Maya didn't answer. Her silence cut deeper than anger. I've never loved. Not truly. I've taken, I've conquered, I've owned. But I've never cared, his voice cracked. Until you. He stepped closer, pain etched into every line of his face. You changed me, Maya. You terrify me. Because for the first time I want something I can't control. I want you. Her tears fell silently. She didn't move, but her heart beat so loudly it drowned the silence. And for once Ethan stood there, stripped bare. Not billionaire, not conqueror, just a man confessing his truth. Maya's decision came with trembling courage. One Sunday afternoon, she brought Ethan to the small brick house where she had grown up. Her mother opened the door, warm but cautious. Her grandmother sat in her chair by the window, eyes sharp though softened by age. They watched Ethan carefully as he greeted them with quiet respect. No arrogance, no polished charm, only sincerity. Dinner was simple: fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread. Ethan ate slowly, listening more than speaking. His silence was not distance, it was reverence. Afterward, Maya's grandmother reached across the table, her hand frail but steady. Family is not blood, she said. Her voice carried the weight of truth. Family is who stays when the rest leave. The words hung in the air. Ethan's eyes glistened, and for the first time, Maya saw him lower his guard completely. He nodded, voice hushed. Then I hope. One day, I'll be counted among them. The call came late at night. Ethan's foster brother had relapsed, found unconscious, rushed to rehab again. Maya went with him. The sterile smell of antiseptic clung to the air as they walked down the long hallway. Ethan's steps faltered. She saw it then, the weight he carried. The strong shoulders bent under invisible burden. He stopped outside the room, unable to go in. His hands trembled. I promised him I'd save him, Ethan whispered. His voice cracked, brittle with guilt. But money doesn't fix broken souls. Maya slipped her hand into his. His fingers tightened around hers, desperate, as if clinging to the only anchor he had left. That night, she didn't see the billionaire the world feared. She saw the boy who had survived fire, who had tried to rescue another, and who had failed. Her heart ached. He was powerful, but he was also deeply, painfully human. Sleep had not touched Ethan for days. Meetings, calls, the chaos of his brother's recovery. His body pushed past its limit, his mind frayed thin. He drove through the city at dawn, eyes burning, hands heavy on the wheel. The streets blurred. The red light flashed too late. Metal screamed against metal. Glass shattered. Darkness swallowed him whole. Maya's phone rang an hour later. The hospital. Her knees buckled as the words fell through the line. Accident. Critical. Not breathing on his own. She dropped the phone, the sound echoing in the gallery. Her breath came in gasps, ragged, broken. Rushing to the hospital, every step felt like knives. She burst into the sterile room and saw him, still, pale, machines keeping him tethered to life. Her chest split open. She reached for his hand, whispering through sobs, Don't leave me. Not now. Not when I finally know what you mean to me. Hours stretched into eternity. Maya never left his side. Then, a flicker. His hand twitched. A groan escaped his lips. His eyes, heavy, fluttered open. Maya! The word was broken, but alive. She cried, gripping his hand tighter. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. From the bedside drawer, Ethan pulled out a small velvet box, worn from years untouched. Inside lay a ring. Simple, silver, once belonging to his foster mother. His voice was weak, but steady. This is all I have of her. She gave it to me, told me to use it only when I found someone who made me whole. Tears blurred Maya's vision. I can't buy you, Ethan whispered, but I can choose you. Will you choose me? Her answer was wordless. She nodded, tears falling freely as she leaned over, pressing her lips to his forehead. The monitors beeped steady, as if even his heart had found its rhythm again. The sun melted into the horizon over a quiet California beach. Waves whispered against the sand. Guests gathered, but the world felt small. Just the two of them. Maya walked down the aisle, her dress billowing in the ocean breeze. Ethan stood waiting, scars hidden, eyes bright with a joy he no longer feared. Their vows were not grand. They were simple, honest. Two wounded souls choosing to heal together. When they kissed, the crowd cheered, but Maya only heard the ocean. The same ocean that once had frightened her now seemed to sing. The painting, Awakening Dawn, hung nearby under a white canopy, its colors alive in the fading light, and so the circle closed. From humiliation to loss to love reborn. Because true love cannot be bought. It cannot be won with power or wealth. It lives only in the choice to stay, again and again. If you believe love can conquer judgment and fear, share your thoughts below. Subscribe to join us for more stories that remind us of the power of the heart.